Good morning, Digit fam. Adam Dowd here at the start of another week of all the tech goodies that you can devour. It's the first time in 2019 that I'm wearing shorts, and while that might not be the most pleasing mental image, it does indicate that the weather is about a week away from being awesome. It is April 8th, 2019, and this is your Digit Daily. You know, I love my Google Home and Google Assistant on my phone and Wear OS Watch, but there's just one problem with all of those devices. Okay, Google. And to be honest, I'm going to be saying that phrase a lot, so if you hear beeps in the background, that's just because I have Google all around me. Now, having to say that keyword over and over can be annoying at times, or really any kind of hot word can be annoying at times. Even the Echo having to say Alexa or computer can get really annoying, especially if you live in a home with someone named Alexa. The thing is, we've already delved into the smart speaker world and come to realize that under normal operation, a smart speaker is always listening to you. Only by saying the activation phrase can we get the speaker to do anything or record anything. Having a speaker that's always listening to you can be creepy, so there needs to be a way for a speaker to know that you're talking to it and not just having a conversation with another person. Hence the phrase, "Okay Google." But when it comes to Google Assistant in particular, that phrase is the most annoying. "Okay Google" or "Hey Google" is relatively clunky. Add to that, it doesn't allow for another anthropomorphized option like Alexa or Siri, and the reason is simple and annoying. Google wants you to say Google as often as possible, because the more you say Google, the more you associate Google with getting things done. Okay, fine, I get that, but it still sucks. The Echo allows for a slightly wider range of customizable hot words you can choose from Alexa, Amazon, Echo, or computer, a nod to Star Trek, and that was the option I chose for the longest time until I watched the first Star Trek marathon on TV and accidentally triggered my Echo 17 times before I finally relented and changed it back to Alexa. But where does that leave us? We have a category of products that are always listening to us. To make ourselves feel better, we use a hot word to activate them. You can't see it, but I'm making air quotes. Because it basically just means that devices are listening to you even more. Plus, you have a company that is forcing you to say its name over and over awkwardly, instead of just allowing you to set your own hot word. And the worst part is, I like Google Home the best, so it's especially insulting to me. Now, over the years, I've trained myself to say, "Okay Google," in just the right way so I can activate the speaker or my phone or my watch pretty much whenever I want. But people like my wife, and this is not a slight on her, it's just anecdotal evidence of my point. I love you, honey. People like my wife have historically had trouble activating the speaker at times, and it's annoying AF, I can assure you. Perhaps in the future we'll figure out a better way to get the Star Trek experience where you can simply ask a room to do something and it does it. Maybe there will be an evolution to smart speakers or a new category altogether that works in a better way, but for now, unfortunately, it's OK Google's world. We're all just living in it. So let's OK Google our way into the roundup! Android Authority's official review of the Huawei P30 is up, and if you like camera and battery on your phone, and chances are you do, then this is the phone to beat in 2019. The camera on this phone is scary good normally, but in low light and when zooming in, which is usually where smartphone cameras fall short, it is extraordinary. Add to that a real 2-day battery life, and this is your Yahtzee. Unless you live in the United States, in which case, you know, sorry. Over the weekend, Netflix quietly pulled the ability to play video over Apple's Airplay. According to Netflix, it's a technical limitation, which is technically true. However, that limitation isn't an inability to transmit the signal. Rather, since Airplay is being rolled out to third-party devices like those Samsung TVs we talked about at CES, Airplay doesn't have the ability to distinguish to what device a video is streaming, a TV or an Apple TV. Therefore, it can't certify that the TV is providing the best experience possible. Therefore, Netflix is taking its ball and going home. Which seems, I don't know, stupid, I guess. I mean, on the one hand, I can kind of see Netflix's point. You don't want your product to end up a pixelated mess on a TV. But on the other hand, you're taking away functionality that many of your users rely on, and you're providing a bad experience overall. It's a tough call, but I'm not sure Netflix made the right one here. And speaking of bad user experiences, we've talked a bit about the butterfly keyboards on current MacBooks that, to put it bluntly, suck. Well, Dan Ackerman over at CNET wants to set the record straight by declaring in a proud voice that they're not that bad. He lists off his personal experiences with the keyboards, which are extensive, and he comes to the conclusion that they're not great, but they don't fail all the time either. But then he sums it all up with this, saying, quote, "Bigger batteries and bigger keys mean bigger and heavier laptops. Thinner laptops mean less room for deep keys and less room for large batteries. Sometimes you just have to pick your poison," which is fine, but Apple isn't giving us the opportunity to pick a poison. They only have one poison, and it sucks. Even though the world at large has declared that it doesn't care about thinner and lighter, it wants long-lasting and not sucky, which I understand is a high bar, except no, it isn't. Pardon me if I get a little salty here, but being in the job market sucks. I have said, and I will say it again, that job hunting is maybe the one thing that the internet not only has not made any better, but has actually made much, much worse. But let's just pile some more crap on top of the gigantic pile of crap that job hunting is by being an HR schmuck with some secret set of rules that someone has to follow without knowing about them in order for you to grace them with the opportunity to perform labor for them. Case in point, the HR manager who said, "I've been hiring people for 10 years and I won't hire anyone that doesn't send a thank you note after an interview." Well, Terrence Eden dissects the reasons why this is a stupid rule, but he leaves out one important reason. As a hiring manager, it is your job to find the best person to fill the role, not to power trip on some stupid gotcha that makes you miss out on the best candidate. I would suggest you climb down off your high horse and actually try to do your job competently, lest you find yourself having to write your own thank you notes. And finally, back in February, we talked about the spacecraft, which is mispronounced as Berahit, the first moon landing spacecraft from Israel that is privately funded. Well, now it's preparing to land. The craft contains, and this is a little vague, so I'm going to quote from the article, quote, "scientific instruments on board to measure the lunar magnetic fields, which should help with understanding the moon's formation." Fascinating. Thanks. But the lander also serves as a sort of time capsule because it contains digital files of several children's drawings, a Bible, a Holocaust survivor's memories, and an Israeli flag. Time capsules are cool, moon landings are cool, space is cool. So overall, this is cool. And that is going to do it for today's Digit Daily. If you'd like to learn more about any of these stories, check out the links in the show notes and subscribe to our daily newsletter on Digit.com. And if you like what you heard, subscribe and leave a review on your favorite podcast player, and be sure to tell your friends about DigitDailyPod.com. Once again, I'm Adam Dowd, Dead Technology on Twitter, and we'll talk again tomorrow.